Does something like this already exist? Well, I don't know. Let's find out.
I don't care whether it's a lemonade stand, whether you're trading Pokemon cards. Like, I don't really care what it is, but all of these little things help you understand the basics.
You might think you got nothing out of this. You might think that, it sucks for you, poor me, woe is me. You have 7 years now of experience that people sometimes never get in their entire lives. And we're back.
Can't believe it.
What's up? How you been?
That we made it back.
We made it back. we made it back. I don't know if anything was going on, but we made it back from it. Here we are.
It was all that wind.
Yeah, we did have a lot of wind last week. It was crazy wind. It was stuff was like my backyard just was a disaster after all that wind.
I've branches everywhere.
Yeah. I have a pergola in the backyard, and it's got a nice soft canopy top. Well, it used to have a nice soft canopy top that just got blown all over the place. I'll have to put that back up when the time comes.
Yeah,
but
I have one of those sails.
Yeah,
that ripped.
That's gone.
That's gone.
Oh, it's a shame, man.
But
all right. So I wonder if you know about something. I'm sure you know about this.
Probably not.
But a lot of people don't, especially a lot of people getting into business.
The way you're framing it, it's like I'm not supposed to know.
No, I'm sure you know.
Okay.
I'm sure you know, but most people probably don't. So there are two big psychological issues that come with owning a business. They're on the far opposite end of each other. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But one is called founder syndrome, right?
Okay.
And the other one is called imposter syndrome.
Okay.
And a lot of people, do you know about these?
I know imposter syndrome.
You know imposter, but you don't know about founder syndrome.
I can guess what founder syndrome is, but
so a lot of people don't know about these. Okay, and I thought, you know what, this is probably good. I was talking to somebody last week that had a real big case of imposter syndrome. So let me explain what this is. All right, so imposter syndrome is the person who would probably be very good at business, be very good at doing things on their own, but they don't believe they've earned where they're at currently. Like, they don't believe they're good enough. They don't believe that the skill sets, I'll use software developers, for example, right? They don't believe that they had the skills necessary to build that big project. They don't believe that they've earned the position they're in. They're even like aghast that I can't believe I make this much money from my employer. Like, they can't fathom the idea that they are good enough to be in the position they're in. And it's very, very difficult for a person like that to then want to go and run their own company because they won't believe that, that they're entitled to success.
Yeah.
And it really is a shame. It is a real thing.
I always remember Warren, like whenever I'm talking to someone that feels like they don't know enough or they aren't enough or whatever, I always remember Warren Buffett's quote, right? Wall Street is the only place where the guy pulls up in a Rolls Royce to be advised by someone that took the subway.
Yeah. I never heard that. And that's fantastic.
Right? And I'm like, so just because the guy that's riding the subway doesn't mean that he's not really good at what he does.
Yeah.
Right? Like, otherwise the guy in the Rolls Royce probably wouldn't be talking to him in the first place.
Right.
Right? But those are the people that build the foundation. And we used to call it back in the day, fake it till you make it.
Right.
So you can fake knowing things, but at some point you're going to have to actually learn it and know it. And I think a imposter syndrome is more of an insecurity issue.
Oh, completely.
Right? Like it's you not believing that you can do whatever it is that you say you're going to do. Right. I also think it's partially, yes, if you overpromise and underdeliver, you're going to get hit by it even harder, right?
Yeah.
But I think for the most part, because I used to struggle with this on the franchising side and stuff. And I'm like, am I ready to be a franchisor?
Yeah.
Right. And we postponed, we went to the point we franchised the business, and I got so nervous that I canceled all of our plans and got rid of our FDD and everything and waited another 5 years. Right. It wasn't until I went to one of the franchise expos and I was talking to an attorney, and he's also like he helps basically start up franchisors, become franchisors. And I remember he asked me, he's like, okay, he's like, we can take a look at what you have and kind of tell you whether or not, what's needed. So I'm like, okay, fine. So I send him all the stuff that I had on Monday. And literally within like 20 minutes of me emailing him, my phone rings. And I'm like, is it that bad? And he's like, you realize that you are further along with everything you have than 99% of people that go into franchising. I'm like, what? I'm like, I felt like I was way behind. He's like, no, you have no idea how far ahead you are.
Wow, that's great.
Right? But it's that getting caught in your own head of, oh, this isn't good enough. Oh, I'm not far along enough. Oh, I can't code this. Oh, I can't build this.
Right.
Well, no, you can't until you actually go for it, right? And along the way, you're going to learn how to do it if you don't.
Yeah, and I thought it was important to talk about this because we haven't obviously talked about it in previous podcasts, but I want people out there that have this. It's very easy to recognize. It really is. You're actually you're good, but you don't think you're good. But the results clearly state that you're good, regardless of what the job is.
Yep.
And you got to look at that. You got to say to yourself, all right, why am I holding myself back? What is keeping me from going to the next step? And unfortunately, the answer is you. You're keeping yourself from doing it, right? So I just want people to recognize that is a thing. Nothing's wrong with you. There's no you don't have like a mental disorder or something like that. That is a real hell. I suffered from it when I was younger. I was like so much further ahead than people when it came to software development and business and such. And for a while, I was like, no, I can't do this. I'm not gonna be able to do it by myself. Right. And sure enough, I could. But who knew? So I just want people out there to know that imposter syndrome is a thing. Don't worry if you have it. Okay. If you do have it, just, push yourself through it a little bit and just put yourself in a little bit of an uncomfortable position, an uncomfortable situation, and you'll probably break through it. And, so I just want you to feel like you're not alone. There's plenty of us out there. Now we're going to switch to founder syndrome. Oh, founder syndrome. Founder syndrome is pretty much the exact opposite. It's where somebody who starts a company and absolutely positively cannot trust anybody to do anything in their company. They cannot relinquish control whatsoever.
That's
like they have to micromanage every single aspect of their business. And the problem with founder syndrome is that your business will run exactly as like you want it to, but it will never grow.
Correct.
It will never grow beyond you because you're not allowing it to. You need to allow people to make decisions without you being there.
You will grow to the point where you cannot manage more people, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's your cap.
Exactly.
Right. And it's interesting because I have these conversations with people quite a bit, because normally when people come to me is when they're ready to take that next step and they really want to grow their business.
Yeah.
And that's actually one of the first things we double check is like, how uninvolved are you from the day-to-day type stuff? Because if you are heavily involved and we double your business over the next 2 years, you're not going to be able to handle it because you don't trust other people to make the decisions. Right? Like you need to trust, yes, other people will screw up, right? It's going to happen.
Yeah.
What matters is how do they deal with the screw up, not whether or not they screwed up.
It's going to happen. Let me tell you something. You screw up too. As the owner, I promise you've screwed up a dozen times this week.
Yeah.
You just don't realize it, or you don't want to admit it to yourself.
But it's find people that you trust to fix whatever mistake they do. Don't try to find someone that'll never make a mistake, because that's not going to happen.
Yeah. And you do have to learn how to trust people over time. Now I freely agree. You hire someone on day one, you're not trusting them yet. That is an earned privilege to trust somebody. And sometimes it's earned over a long period of time. Sometimes it's a short period of time. I don't know, but mostly it's a long period. So you have to open yourself up to be willing to trust somebody, because like you said earlier, if you are constantly managing every aspect, there's only so many people you can manage, and your company will never grow beyond that.
I approach it the other way around.
Okay.
Right? So I will trust you 100%, even as a new employee, until you prove to me otherwise.
Well, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people who are going to manage your company and take it to the next step. You're not doing
Mhm.
that from day one. You're not giving somebody the keys to the kingdom on day one. You can't.
CEOs get hired and fired all the time.
Well, that's because so a CEO is somebody that's coming in
And running your organization.
no, sure, no, I get that, but they usually have a track record. They're usually somebody that, in other words, I'm not hiring someone off the street that I don't
Correct.
know.
But if you're hiring someone to run your business, you shouldn't be hiring some random off the street.
Oh
You
no,
should be
okay,
hiring
okay.
someone with
I think we're talking about
experience.
different things. I'm
Okay.
talking about someone just to run my business, someone to head a department in my company, or
Mhm.
someone to manage a team in my company, right? I'm watching them closely for the first few weeks to make sure that they know what they're doing, because if they don't, they're going to screw the team up. And if they screw the team up, that takes a lot longer to fix.
Right. Doesn't mean you don't trust them. You just want to make sure they fit in.
Okay, so trust as far as allowing them to work autonomously
Mm-hmm.
without any intervention whatsoever is probably more along the lines of what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So anyway, be careful of founder syndrome as well.
Mhm.
Is the point, if we're bringing it full circle.
Honestly, the founder syndrome can often be harder to overcome than the imposter syndrome.
Without question.
Yeah.
Well, the imposter syndrome's easy. Force yourself into a position where
Mhm.
you're doing something and you'll get over it pretty quickly.
Correct. You
Yeah.
realize you can do whatever it is you think you can't do,
Yeah.
or you are whatever you think you aren't.
Founder syndrome is a learned behavior that is very, very difficult to break. It is a habit, and it's very hard to
And
break.
It's also a trust issue.
Yeah.
Like, it's a major trust issue.
Yeah.
Is that if you really think nobody can do your job better than you, I deal with this in the marketing world all the time, right? Is someone comes to me and says, "Hey, I wanna start marketing my business," and I'm like, "Perfect." And one of the questions we ask is like, "What makes you different?" Right? And whenever someone says, "Oh, well, we're better than the competitor," I call bullshit.
Yeah.
There's always someone better than you. I don't care what you do, who you are. There is always someone better than you in some way, in some field. So that is not a legit thing.
Yeah.
But anyways, you want to get cracking?
Yeah, let's get cracking. Let's get cracking and see what Reddit has to say today. Before we keep going, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already.
Oh, and the like button. The like button's our friend.
The like button is our friend. Yes, we do like the like button. So please hit that too.
And thanks for the support. Let's keep it moving.
All right, so we are under startup_ideas for now until the pizza
now.
vending machines come back. Remember those?
Yeah, the pizza vending machines and the I'm looking for a technical co-founder.
And technical co-founders, of course.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what we have. I'm gonna come on this side. All right, this is from.
Oh, that's right. You have
I
new
have-
setup, new
I
monitors
have
all
two
over.
monitors here. I know.
I still have
I can look
my
either way.
I still have my one and only.
All right, this is from Marriages001. Says, find problems worth solving. I like this. I already like where this is going. All right,
You know whose motto that is? by the way.
yours.
Huh?
You say that all the time.
Well, yeah, and I stole it from someone else.
Oh, who's that?
I stole it from Elon Musk.
Oh, okay.
Elon Musk stole it from forget who it was, but like
Another person.
correct. But this is like exactly what business is.
Yeah.
Like, look at people that have been there, done that, and nothing is new anymore, right? You're just use others' experience, see how they solved a problem or how they grew a business.
Yep.
And the roadmap is in front of you. Anyway,
So they say, ever found yourself staring at your code editor, fingers hovering over the keyboard, thinking, I want to build something meaningful, but what?
mm-hmm.
That was me constantly. I'd spend weeks bouncing between half-started projects, always wondering if I was solving problems that actually mattered to people. The frustration was real. I'd scour Reddit threads, browse Twitter discussions, lurk in Discord channels, and dig through Product Hunt, all trying to find that perfect problem worth solving. Hours wasted jumping between platforms, piecing together scattered feedback, and still ending up uncertain if I was onto something valuable. So yeah, that's a thing. That's a real thing, right?
Mhm.
And that's great advice for people, is because it's not so much this person isn't asking for help. He's just offering, or she is offering a, hey, it's when you're building something, build something that's worth a problem that's worth solving. Don't just build something for no reason. Now, I'll back up one part of that. Sometimes it is good to build something for no reason, and that's just to increase your skill set. Like if you want to build something because, hey, I think this would be cool to build, go build it, learn new things, learn skills. But once you're ready to start doing it for business purposes, it's got to be about a problem you're solving.
Correct. And it's got to be a problem where people are willing to pay for the solution.
Yes.
Right? If you want it as a business, if you're just trying to solve a problem just to solve it, fine, do that. But if you're trying to solve it in a way where it can lead into being a business, it's got to be a problem that people are willing to, my thing I always say, if you can separate someone from their money.
Yeah, it's a business worth having. Yeah,
correct.
Of course.
But I think he's doing the right thing. Like, because I've said this and I say this on episode after episode after episode, right? Is just go solve a problem. People are complaining about problems everywhere. They're complaining about it on Reddit. They're complaining about it on X. They're complaining about it on TikTok. They're complaining about it at family functions. They're complaining about it. I mean, you could probably walk out on the city corner in New York and ask 50 people what a problem is that they're having, and everybody will tell you that they're having some kind of problem with something.
Yeah.
Right? Out of those 50, is there one person that would be willing to pay you to solve their problem?
Sure. Oh, yeah.
If the answer is yes.
That's the one you want. Exactly. So it's again, when you're out there looking for, and then that's what these sites are for, the startups, the entrepreneurs, etc. It's for people to go out and try to say, okay, what kind of business can I start? What do I want to do? That's another question you need to ask yourself is, am I really solving a problem? Am I just adding on to something else that already exists and not really solving anyone's problem? Or is it adding on to something that exists because it creates a problem that hasn't been solved yet?
Correct. And I just want to be clear that like a problem spans a vast variety of things, right? It can be a nuisance. It could be something annoying. Like we talked about the whole idea of someone, coming up with the whole being able to take a picture of your fridge to get a recipe type thing. Right? That wasn't like a real problem, but it's a nuisance, right? That you have a fridge full of stuff, but you don't know what to make, right?
Yeah.
Not a real problem. You could make eggs, right? Like, let's be honest, right?
If you have eggs.
If you have eggs, right? But sometimes it's just solving a slight nuisance. Like, I often wonder, like, the guy that came up with those stupid sunscreens to put in your front window during the summer, or if you're in, you know what I'm talking about, right? Was it really a problem? Like, is it really, really a problem that your seat is hot or that your steering wheel gets hot? No, it's a nuisance, right? Like, it's not, in most parts of the world, that's not like a real problem that you're solving. But it was enough of a nuisance that they've sold millions of these things.
Okay, so let me add on to that. Okay, so you have an existing product that's out there that solves the problem of sun coming through the window and heating things up, and they're selling it, right? So the add-on to that product is, I don't know about you, but whether I'm at home or at work or a lot of other locations I'm at, you know what happens in the spring and summertime at the windows? Birds run into it all day long. I have birds running into the windows.
What, at your house?
Here at my house, other places I go to, sometimes I see it. Birds are running into the windows all day long. And the only answers I see online are, put stickers up or do this or do that. Well, take that product that already exists about the heater, right? Or the blocking out the heat, and try to find a way to incorporate something into it. Since you're already putting something on the window, try to find some way of incorporating into it a way to deter birds from flying into the glass. Right? The point is, you can take an existing product and solve an additional problem.
Yes.
Right? So it doesn't have to be this new problem that's never been solved before with a new product that never existed before.
No, I kind of want to solve that problem.
I know. Seriously, you've never come to my office in the spring?
No.
And seen the cardinals and stuff outside? They are constantly jamming and running. Thank God they don't kill themselves, but they're running themselves into the window nonstop all day long.
Maybe you're just part of a Hitchcock movie.
Well, apparently, yes. The birds are after me.
And you don't know it.
The birds are after me, of course. And then it happens at home, too. The birds, and the only reason the birds leave at home is because the cat goes to the window and like does that and tries to attack them.
I wonder how big of a problem this actually is.
And at our house, on the bottom of our door, we have a like a brass plate that's kind of shiny, and there's not cardinals, but these other birds come and they peck at it all day long because they think it's another bird in the reflection, and they're fighting it all day long. They are pecking at it nonstop. I come out and there's bird poop all over. I got to clean it up like every couple of days.
Well, that's an easy solution. Get rid of it.
Yeah, I know, get rid of it.
Right,
but still, my point is, birds are crazy.
There's got to be some kind of electronic thing you can put outside.
I've looked online. I haven't done in-depth research, but I've looked online, and most of the answers are to put stickers on there and stuff like that.
I don't want stickers on my windows.
I know you don't want stickers on your windows. So I haven't really found a solution. Guess what? There you go. That's something you can solve, right? And you can solve it with an existing product.
Right.
So anyway.
Oh.
Yeah, that's how it works. So yeah, when you're looking to build a product, whether it's software, physical, whatever it's going to be, solve a problem.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. This is from Larkspur. Larkspur says, seeking ideas for my 13-year-old son's first business venture. Ooh, I like. The only thing I would say differently about this is I would like if the 13-year-old son was seeking it for themselves. But that's it. That's
sounds
just
like
me.
It sounds like he's starting to sow the seeds of into his son. Which
I like it.
I mean,
that's
at any
great.
time, start it.
I'm looking for some advice and ideas to help my 13-year-old son start his own business. I want to teach him entrepreneurial skills and give him a taste of what it's like to run a business. We're aiming for something with low startup capital. Some questions I have. Do you know of any kids in your neighborhood who have a small business? What kind of business do they run? How long have they been doing it? Any suggestions or insights would be greatly appreciated. So I would say almost every business I did when I was younger, right? And call it a business. I'm saying everything I did to earn money as I was younger, right? When I was like 9 or 10 years old, I would sit outside the the supermarket, and I would, at the time, you weren't allowed to take your carts to the car. You had to keep your cart inside the area outside the shopping center, and you couldn't bring your car up. So people would carry their bags, walk back. So I'd help people with their bags. And I would get like, 25, 50 cent tip or whatever. I would make like 20, 30 bucks a day.
Yeah.
Right. And that was 40 years ago. And
he said 40 in case someone didn't hear it.
So anyway, so that's no. And then the other things I would do is during Christmas time, I would go to the local store and I would buy, wreaths and stuff like that for $1, $2, whatever it is. And then I would go house to house with a shopping cart full of stuff, selling it for, $5, $6, right? And I would make money off of it. It was an easy way to make money. Those things are all, well, maybe not the shopping bags have been replaced by, take your cart out to your car, and everything else has been replaced by Amazon and stuff like that. But there's still things you can do. Mow lawns, right? Well, that'll never go away. You're always going to need that.
So a friend of mine, his son, by the time he was 14, was actually running a business that was grossing about $80K a year.
What? Wow.
And
what was he doing?
I'm about to tell you.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to hold that from us.
No, I'm not going to hold it from you. But what's funny is I didn't even realize how well his business was doing, but he was sent to us because he was about to start helping his dad with his business, and he wanted to learn some basic bookkeeping skills. So I have a certified management accountant on staff.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? He can come train with us. We'll show him how it all works. Get him trained on all the QuickBooks related stuff or the accounting related stuff. But he didn't want to work on his dad's business to start with, so he brought us all of his stuff, right? So I looked at it and I'm like, what's all this? He's like, oh, this is my business that I've been doing since I was like, 13 or 14. But what he was doing, he was trading sneakers.
Oh, okay.
So he would go on eBay and other places, and he would buy collectible sneakers, store them in inventory for a year, right? So they would increase in value and then turn around and resell them. But he was doing $80,000 a year at
crazy.
15, right? But it was because he was really
in revenue or in profit?
So in gross revenue.
Okay.
But he was
still
he was pulling probably 20, 30 grand profit at 15, right? Like, But that was a genuine business. Like it was a business because he had to watch his expenses.
Yeah.
He had to watch his margins. He had to know where to advertise. He had to know where to procure his inventory from, right? Like, and he would do everything from buying them online to like, he would literally ask his dad to stop at yard sales when they saw yard sales.
That's awesome.
And he would go out and just see if they had any sneakers that could potentially have value.
Right.
But I was like at 15.
That's great.
I thought it was fantastic, right? But it taught him every element of a business, right? It taught him procurement. It taught him markups. It taught him marketing.
How were his books?
They were kind of a mess. He had like, he kind of knew what he spent, right? Other than cash payments. Like, I'm not going to say it was the best accounting in the world, but he knew he was making money.
Yeah.
Right? Like he couldn't tell us exactly how much, but once we put everything in and he saw like what he was actually doing and stuff, the kid looks at it and goes, I should probably try to fix my margins. I'm like, dude, you're like 20% margin. Like, what are you going to fix?
That's great.
But it was cool because it's kind of that moment I realized where if you can find what interests them, like if they have a genuine hobby or something that is really, really interesting to them, can you teach them how to build a business around something they're interested in? Because if you can, they're going to be far more invested than if it's just a business to be a business.
Right.
Right. Especially at those younger ages. But yeah, so
you're gonna like OK Data 38. Their comment, one of them is your favorite thing. Pressure washing.
Oh yeah,
that's a great business, man. It really is.
It is.
And you know what? He's right. A 13-year-old could do that.
So it depends on where
I wouldn't do the higher.
Correct.
But I would the grounds. Oh,
correct.
All day.
So like I would do pool decks.
Yeah.
Driveways.
I wouldn't do the
walkways.
house.
No. Like not unless. Excuse me. Not unless you actually know what you're doing. With that, because like you can damage a house pretty quickly with pressure washing. But yeah, and same thing, like this winter, we had a neighbor that moved in up the street like a year and a half ago. And this was the first winter we actually got snow, right? So I'm standing looking out my window going, now I got to go start up the snowblower and like do all this stuff, right? And I see these two kids come walking and I see them go into a house and come out, go to a house, come out, go to a house, come out, come to my house. And they're like, hey, we just wanted to know, would you be interested if we shoveled the snow for you?
Yeah.
And I'm like, sure, how much? Here's the response that I got, right? Like I was expecting like $20, right? Like, end of story. And he goes, well, it's $25 for your driveway and your walk and your sideway length if you just want us to shovel. I'm like, is there an upgrade? He's like, yeah, if you want us to salt it and do all that stuff too, it's 35.
Microtransactions, I love it.
And if you want us to bring the salt, it's 40.
The upsell. I love the upsell.
Yeah, but this kid can't have been more than like 13 or 14. And I'm like, that's...
Here's 100, kid. Thank you.
I'm like,
thank you for restoring my faith.
Right? Like, but it was just such a genius way. He's like, well, if you just want the shoveling, it's that. And I'm like, because like it kind of forced me to ask, like, what do you mean by just shoveling? Yeah. Right? And the kid was on top of it. He was like, yeah, it would probably be a good idea to salt because it's supposed to freeze later tonight, right? And I'm like, you little smart ass, right? But I was like,
salesman, natural.
Yes,
I love it.
Yes. So I ended up handing him $40.
Yeah.
I went to the office. I came home. Everything was shoveled, salted.
That's great.
I was like, huh. Like,
now, the problem with that business, of course, is it's limited to a certain time of year and only a couple of times a year.
Correct.
Based on the snow we've been getting.
But I was
even still.
Correct. I'm waiting for him to come off or mow my
parlay
lawn.
that, right? Exactly. You parlay that right into mowing lawns and other things. That's...
I mean, he's probably going to sell me seeding and overseeding and weed whacking. Like, right? Correct, right? Like he's going to come
I
up with
noticed you've had some crabgrass last couple of years. We've charted it out for you here.
That's what I'm expecting from this kid, right? But I just happen to know his family, and his dad owns a towing company.
Okay.
Right? So like dad runs the tow trucks with some guys and mom does the dispatching and stuff. So like he's seen what it's like to run a business and do upsells and stuff. So I just thought it was really cool because I knew who it was.
I love that.
I was like, this is the way to do it. Not only are you learning, to earn your money, but like you're learning sales skills along the way. And It's more about the skills than the business.
Oh, yeah, it is. It really is. It's the physical skills are one thing,
Mhm.
but the business skills are huge, right? Again, it's customer acquisition,
Yep.
customer retention, right? It's you're billing, collections.
Yes.
It's great.
Even basic things like setting up a lemonade stand,
Yeah.
right? Because my daughter, I told you the story.
Yeah.
She wanted to do it, right? When I asked her, so what are you going to sell the lemonade for? And she goes, $1. And I'm like, how do you know it's $1? And she goes, I don't know. It just sounds like a good number. So I took her to the grocery store the other day and I'm like, okay, let's buy some lemons and let's buy some sugar.
Yep.
So we bought like 2 of those nets that have lemons in them. And we went and bought sugar and then we went home. And then I'm like, where are you going to get the water from? And she's like, oh, I'm going to get it from the fridge. And I'm like, well, the fridge needs a water filter. Do you have money for a water filter? She goes, how much is a water filter? And I'm like, $28 a pop. She goes, oh. And by the time we were done making the lemonade, I asked her, so how many cups of lemonade do you have? And we ended up having like, I don't know, 40 cups all said and done, whatever it was. Like it wasn't a lot.
Yeah.
And I go, okay, so how much is this worth? And she goes, $40. And I'm like, okay, so you spent $28 on a water filter. You spent $14 on lemons or $9, whatever it was. You had to buy a bag of sugar. You're lucky that I gave you the plastic cups, right? Because otherwise you would have needed plastic cups. And she goes, oh, so I would have been better off just keeping my money. And I'm like, yes, that's how it works, right? And it seems like such a simple thing, but when it comes to business, those are like core skills. Understanding margins and markups and cost of production and like all these things. So like even basic things like
a lot of people don't understand those basic things. They don't think about it. They only think about, oh, what can I sell or how can I get into, but all the stuff that has to happen before you're ready to sell.
Yeah.
It's again, it's the acquisition cost of the product itself.
Yeah.
Right. You have the acquisition cost for the customer and the acquisition cost for the product. Yeah. And for some reason, the acquisition cost for the product often gets overlooked.
And then the cost of the labor and all that stuff. Like I told you about the guys we had that did seal coating, right? For driveways. Yeah. Once again, if they had to spend half their day driving from one driveway to another, that's a lot less driveways they could do, right? So understanding that time in your truck is time that you're either
not earning money.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. And it's funny that people often don't think that. Like I remember when I had my driveway done, like I had to do a complete tear out, right? Because it was cracked like all the way down stuff. There was no way of fixing it. And I remember the guys coming out and I was talking to the foreman and I was like, how long did it take you guys to get all this equipment loaded up and like actually come to my location? He was like, it was about 2.5 hours.
Yeah. For one job.
For one job, 2.5 hours, like to load everything up, go get all the materials, bring everything to my house. He's like, it wasn't all of us for 2.5 hours. He's like, it was 2.5 hours for me. And it was probably like an hour and a half for everybody else. And I'm like, so basically you've lost, I don't know, call it 7 man hours, diesel, gas, everything else. And you haven't even started the job yet, right? Well, somebody's got to pay for that.
Right.
Right. So if you're wondering why certain things, same thing like a tree service, right? If you have a 100-foot oak tree and they got to bring a crane, right? Because I had to have that done. Yeah. Guys had to show up with a crane, right? And I was like, how long did it take to get this crane here? Right. And they were like, well, about an hour and a half.
Do you own it? Do you rent it? Yeah.
Right. So like, it's all these things that even doing simple business things, you learn so much about how things function.
Yeah.
So I don't care whether it's a lemonade stand, whether you're trading Pokemon cards, like I don't really care what it is, but all of these little things help you understand the basics.
It's funny you mentioned little things, and this is probably for people that are not teenagers, unfortunately, but probably a little bit older to understand. Maybe teenagers have seen it. I don't know. If you want to talk about a person who is like just locked in on the little things, go look at a public adjuster.
Oh yeah.
For when there's like an incident at the house, a flood or something like that. you and I normally, maybe we're business people, we see a little more, but most homeowners will say, okay, the bathroom, let's just leave it at the bathroom. Bathroom flooded, the floors need to be ripped up, and the walls need to be taken care of.
Mhm.
Okay. And that's all we see. An adjuster will have 50 different items on there, if not more, of
Yeah.
things that you did not even consider.
Correct.
Right? Like, the wax seal in the toilet needs to be replaced, and
even beyond that, right?
like, way beyond that. I'm just saying,
like
the shower curtain needs to be,
the vanity has to be emptied.
Yeah,
the vanity has to be removed,
right?
Because we need to get under the vanity.
Yeah, exactly. Who's
right?
removing it? Right.
And it's well, who's paying for the time to empty the vanity?
Right.
Right. Like, are you just supposed to do that? Because
it's crazy.
Somebody
we had a flood years ago in our house, and it was like, we had our toothbrushes and stuff in the bathroom. He had literally toothbrush
$7.99.
Exactly.
Right.
Every single,
but it adds up.
And the point is, it's the same thing for a business.
Yes.
It's all those tiny little expenses you don't think about.
We just this week, like, this is all I've been working on this week, is we were revisiting all of our marketing packages, all of the stuff that we do. Mm-hmm. Because we were looking at it and like, we've added a bunch of stuff that we're doing in these without ever adjusting for it. Like, our software costs have doubled over the last 4 years, right? And like, I'm pretty good at staying up to date on pricing, but it finally got to the point where I'm like, why are our margins right? Like, pardon my French, but like, our margins all of a sudden were in the toilet. And then I started digging through it and I'm like, oh, it's because we've added these little things and our cost of software has gone up and the cost of this has gone up. And like, we haven't, we've been making adjustments, but not nearly the amount of adjustments that we should have been doing. And it's not like I've been doing this for a couple of years. Like, I've been doing this for a long time now. And even sometimes people like me just forget, like, we're like, oh, our new software does this. Let's just do it for the clients, right? It may only cost $2 per client.
Right.
But when you add that up to a bunch of clients, it adds up really quick.
So back to the questions here. And more importantly, back to OK Data's 38's answers. I really like 2 and 3. His answers are pressure washing and cleaning trash bins. Mm-hmm. Both of them are fantastic job. Not the house. Don't clean the house, but clean the driveway.
Even the first one.
Backyard pooper scooper. Yeah, that actually is a pretty big thing right now. People,
remember,
right,
we just talked about this the other day.
Kids are
where I
making
was
some
like,
money doing that as well.
If you would have told me that there's an actual franchise, that's like Poopa Scoopers or whatever it's called. And the first time I saw it, I was like, this is really a problem big enough that there's an entire franchise around it?
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, these are 3 really good ideas. So thank you, OK Data 38. That's fantastic.
So since I'm on the topic and you don't have the bell.
The bell's right here.
Oh, okay.
But go ahead. I'm not gonna ding.
Have you ever heard of a place called Canine Resorts?
Oh, of course.
Okay, so
there's one right down here.
Yeah, so they're a franchise, right? Those guys actually got started as dog walkers.
Really? I think I knew that. Maybe you may have told me.
I may have told you, right?
Anyway,
but they.
I'll assume you didn't. Really?
So they started in the dog walking business that then graduated to dog sitting business that then graduated to a doggy hotel that then graduated to a doggy resort.
Cool.
Right? So like, there was an escalation there, but like, you could start as a dog walker. We used to pay a dog walker because we had an elderly dog that didn't really want to go in the backyard anymore and needed to be looked in on at least once during the day. So we had someone that showed up around noontime, would come in, take him for a short, 5-minute walk, let him do his business. But like, I couldn't leave the dog alone for an entire day anymore because he was too old to hold it for 8 hours. So like, there's all kinds of things that you can do. You just got to be creative and be willing to do the work.
Yeah. And when you're young like that, it's doing the work that is going to earn you more because guess what? Mm-hmm. People are generally too busy. I wouldn't say lazy, but just certainly too busy, too much going on in life. Sometimes you get those things done. Like the dog poop, right? Mm-hmm. Think about that. It's the easiest thing in the world to go in your backyard, pick up the dog poop. It might take you 20, 30 minutes. But we're so busy sometimes we just don't have the time to do it.
Yeah.
So great idea, great advice. I love that your 13-year-old is looking out to start their own business. Those are lifetime skills that I promise you will take him far.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very far. So great job, mom and dad, with that one. I want to see more of those. All right, let's see what else we have. Does something like this already exist? Well, I don't know. Let's find out. This is from Visaya asking, does something like this already exist? An app or marketplace where lifestyle and leisure businesses like restaurants, hotels, spas, etc. can create exclusive, limited time, limited ticket offerings for fans or new customers to buy. Example, a restaurant collaborating with a Michelin chef for a 5-course dinner so that they can sell tickets to the event that won't happen again. Does this already exist? And if not, is it worth doing? What are the pros and cons? This already exists. You can do this. You can do this with Eventbrite.
Right. So like it does exist in the sense that you can organize an event and sell tickets to it, right? There is not so there are clubs like this, right? Where you can join a club and the club sets up all kinds of exclusive events.
Yeah.
Actually, I believe some of the credit card companies do this type of stuff as well,
right?
Where they have like exclusive events for card members only, stuff like that.
Oh, right. Yeah, sure.
So I don't think there is an app that specifically does what he's talking about, where there is a company that organizes all kinds of different events, and then you can buy access to that event.
Is that Eventbrite? Isn't that what they do? Right? You can create an event, send invites out to people,
so
and then charge for it if you need to.
They are just the middleman between the organizer and the ticket buyer.
Yeah.
Right? What I think he's talking about is like an actual company that sets up these events.
I don't know. It says a restaurant collaborating with a Michelin chef for a 5-course dinner so they can sell tickets. I mean, I would see that, but let's take it. Let's go your route. Let's go your route.
So even Eventbrite, yes, that kind of does it. But I think he's talking about something like higher end, more exclusive. I don't think there's anything out there that is that type of like niche app.
Well, go your route. Go the way where the app is the one setting up the experiences.
Yeah. So I kind of like this idea because there's all kinds of people that want to try things.
Yeah.
One may not have access to it on a normal basis. Like, let's take our buddy Steve Service.
Yeah.
Right. So like not everybody could afford to have a party of 8 and pay, I don't know, $2,000 or whatever it is for them to come out and serve an 8-course meal. But you may be able to afford 500 and you and your wife come out.
Right.
Well, if I organize the event and I would sell the tickets to it and then I hire them to come and do it.
Right.
So now I'm selling the experience and I'm really just middlemaning this, right? And you could do this, like this could apply to a bunch of stuff. Yes, culinary experiences. It could be intimate concerts.
Doesn't that make you a promoter then at that point?
Oh,
Isn't
yeah.
that what you're doing? You're just promoting?
That's what this whole thing is about. I mean, that's what the credit card companies are doing with these exclusive events. Is they're promoting you to have the card so that you have access to these events, right? So like let's say that this is like a membership model, right? Just for argument's sake, that you pay $10 a month to the app to have access to the events.
Yeah.
Now you're making money off your subscriber base and you're making money off access to these events, right? So you're making money on two sides. I don't think it's a horrible idea.
No.
I would just map out like what could you do? Because I had a similar idea once where I wanted to set up like a club where we would go and negotiate tea times on private courses.
Okay, I like that.
Right? So we would do a pre-interview with anyone before they came in to make sure that they fit into a category of someone that might join a club.
Right.
Right? So basically my idea was I have this club that you join and you pay us, I don't know, $50 to join the club. But in that club, you get X number of private clubs that you can play.
Right.
And we bring you as guests to the private club. And the goal would be like we coordinate with the club so that they get the membership pitch, right? Like kind of like what they do with the damn timeshares, right? It was kind of that same idea is that, you know, if you let me bring 20 people and you can do your sales pitch and we get the full member experience, right? Like we come in, we'll have a lunch, we'll go golfing, like
sure.
that you would be able to recruit some of those 20 people. And back when I was doing it, it probably would have worked because private membership at golf courses was dropping drastically. But this is another thing that I kind of bring up to business owners too, is like, just because your business works now doesn't mean it's going to work in 5 years. So like today, this idea wouldn't work because almost every single private club now has a waiting list, right? So that they would be like, why would I need you to do this, right? While 5 years ago, they would have been all for it. And it's one of those things where like you have to be aware of, there is a time and a place where a business can do really well, right? And then things change around you, and your business that was doing well may not do so well in this new environment. And I think, and I've seen businesses where that happens, right? Especially if it's like a trend business, or something like in this case, it is just the economics of the country changed and people wanting to be members of clubs, that, you know, that interest increased. So like, once again, what would have been a great idea 5 years ago would not work today, or be very hard to pull off today at a minimum. So but
let me go back to their question. Does something like this already exist? Who cares?
Isn't there a thing that does these events at like movie theaters where like it's like you go see an orchestra, but you go to your local movie theater to see it, right? Yeah. What the hell is that called? But basically, it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, but again, the question is, does something like this already exist? Who cares?
Yeah. Yes. Can you do it better?
In fact, I hope it does, so you can look at it, find out what's wrong with it, and make it better.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I like this idea because there's a bunch of stuff that I think like people would be willing to pay or be a member of a club to have access to special events. Absolutely. Right? Like let's say you could set up a small music venue, right? And you bring in an artist that normally only performs on a bigger stage or like normally doesn't come to your area, and you can set up an exclusive event only for your members. I'll
give you a perfect example of something that's happening now it's March. It's something that's happening in April. So it's funny, every once in a while we start talking about Pink Floyd again. I don't know why it always happens, but great band. What are you gonna do? So Pink Floyd, one of their biggest achievements was they did this there was no audience. They did this no audience concert in Pompeii in the 70s, right? It's called Pink Floyd Live in Pompeii. But it was filmed and it was released as a movie. They're re-releasing it in IMAX for 2 days. It's a special, thing. It's event organized. You got to get special tickets to go to it. And there's only certain theaters around the countries that are showing it. But that's a perfect example of something like that. Right. Just like these special engagement. That's what it starts. Special engagement films or special engagement concerts. Right. They used to do something in Philadelphia. I can't remember the name of the studio. But it would be it was a recording studio, but they had it wasn't like you picture in a movie or a TV show. It's like it was an open area where they would record, but there were plenty of places for people to stand and watch while they were recording in the studio. And sonic sessions, they were called, the sonic sessions. And the bands would come and 30 people, because you could fit 30 people in there in addition to the band, would be invited to watch the band perform and record their tracks. It wouldn't be a lot. It wouldn't be like the studio album. It'd be like
it reminds me of the MTV Live.
Yeah,
sessions,
exactly,
right?
Exactly. These were special engagement events that you would have to get special tickets for.
So the key to making this work is being able to have access to otherwise hard to get things, right? Like if you ran a 5-star, a Michelin star chef in New York City, you probably wouldn't get a ton of people to show up.
Because they're everywhere.
But if you did this in Missouri, where there probably aren't a lot of Michelin star chefs, you're now, rather than...
How are you going to get a Michelin star chef to Missouri? That's the question.
Well, you probably, if you pay them enough, right? But yeah, it's the ability to set up those types of events that make them exclusive enough that people are willing to pay for them, or give them access to something they normally don't have access to.
Yeah.
Right? Like if I could say, hey, I'm going to set up a small concert in your backyard, and I'm going to call my buddy Gummi, who happens to be in a band called Seguros, and you can invite 30 of your friends over, that would probably be a very sought after event.
I love that.
Right?
Do you arrange that? That would be fantastic
Right?
for me. Thank you.
But like that would be like a very, very unique type event, and people would be willing.
Oh yeah.
They would be fighting for the spots,
Oh, heck
right?
yeah.
So anytime you can set up something like that, I think there is a market for it.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be, certainly you don't have to start off with something. It doesn't have to be Jay-Z. You don't have to start off huge. You can start off small, local. Find the local talent that people really like.
Well, but it has to be exclusive enough.
But
right?
that's what I'm saying, right? Find the local talent where, the person, when he goes to the audience, when he goes to the theater, there's 2,000 people, make it 100,
right?
50, right? Real exclusive.
Like I would go to a private concert with the Amish Outlaws.
You like them?
I love them.
That's funny.
I saw them at some festival once, and I was like, "Do you know what?
You and my wife will get along with that."
I was like, if they did this in like a small bar where it wasn't like overly crowded, that would probably be something I would go out for.
Oh, that's funny.
Like, and I don't go out for a lot of things.
We saw them. I forget what the bar was, but it was in New Hope. It was small. It was like maybe 150 people there.
Was it a blast?
Was it very big? No, not for me.
Oh,
I wasn't
come
a
on.
fan. My wife loved it. Her and her girlfriends, they loved it. I was in a bad mood that day, so it just wasn't for me.
But they cracked me up, like, because like they're good. They're not like excellent, but they're good and they're funny. And
she's going to be so excited to hear that the Amish Outlaws made it onto the podcast today.
See, there you go.
So funny. So anyway, does it exist? It doesn't matter.
Correct.
Either make it exist or improve upon what's already out there.
What's it called? Music Fest up in Allentown?
Yeah.
Right. Like that's where I saw Deep Purple.
Oh yeah. Cool.
But I didn't know it. The warm-up act was Steppenwolf. Right? And I was like, what?
That's the warm-up? Wow.
That was the warm-up. Steppenwolf was the warm-up.
Jeez.
I thought it was pretty cool, but once again, like if I would have known that, I would have paid extra. It's the same thing when I went and saw Korn.
Oh.
Right? So I bought tickets to Korn.
Yeah.
And when I bought the tickets, they hadn't announced.
Oh, who was it?
Huh?
Who was it?
Have you ever heard of a band called Fantomas?
No.
Have you ever heard of a musician called Mike Patton? From Faith No More and Tomahawk.
Yeah.
He was the warm-up act.
Get out of here. Wow.
I was like, so
that's pretty cool.
And I have been a Mike Patton fan all my life. So like when the concert was over, I told everybody I went to a Mike Patton concert, and then Korn came on afterwards.
That's funny. The only show I went like that recently was we went to see Smashing Pumpkins, but Weezer opened for them.
Oh, that's cool.
I couldn't believe, and it was in Birmingham. It was in Birmingham, England. It was great. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, but like I know we're talking totally different.
So we're way off topic.
Right, but like
when don't we do that?
Those are the things that are like, but it if you think about how many concerts you've been to, it's stuff like that brings it over the top, right? And that's what people talk about. So if you're doing something like this, right? Let's say you do an event that is a Michelin star chef at a restaurant, right? But then as a side guest, Jamie Oliver shows up.
What would that be?
Right. But like, if you can arrange something like that, not only have you created a huge marketing buzz,
but just remember, you don't need to do that today.
Correct.
Right. Start off small.
Yes.
Get a following, get a building, get your name recognition out there for your brand.
If someone would do, like, let's say someone would, I'm just taking as an example something. If you did an event here that was called Authentic Asian Cuisine or Authentic Chinese Cuisine or Authentic Japanese Cuisine, and you would bring in chefs that actually are trained from that country and are serving you authentic food, like not the Americanized food, right? And you advertise that, and then people go, and then at the event, you disclose that the chef that's going to be cooking is going to be Morimoto. Right? Like, now people are buying it because they're generally interested in the cuisine, And the wow factor is
Yeah.
the chef that shows up, right?
Yeah, right.
And that is doable because Morimoto comes to his restaurant down in Philadelphia on a regular basis. So that is something that is totally doable. It would bring attention to his restaurant, right? And you wouldn't have to organize this at another restaurant.
Right.
Like you could organize this at some type of private, like, I don't know, firehouse, right?
Yeah.
Like make it unusual and then bring in something that's like a wow factor.
That's a cool idea. Yeah.
And those things are totally doable,
Very doable.
right? Like
Sometimes it's just a matter of networking.
Even when you're starting out, like this stuff is doable. So yeah, I love this idea. Like I really like this idea, especially because people are willing to.
Gummi, do you like the idea?
I like the idea because, like, think about how we spend money, right? We spend money on necessities, and then a bunch of people spend money on stuff, but then there's a group of us that would rather spend our money on experiences, right? And experiences we're often willing to spend more on than anything else, right? Like, I looked at Disney tickets and I'm like, people are paying this for Disney tickets? Not only are they paying it, like there's a line out the door, right? And theme parks, all this stuff. People are willing to fork over more and more money for experiences, which brings us to a whole other conversation that we're not having today.
That's it.
But,
well, I don't know. We might get into it. Who the heck knows?
Yeah, I know. All
right, wrapping this one up. Visaya, cool. Go make it happen. Even if it exists, go make it work.
Yeah.
Best of luck to you.
Go make it better.
All right, we are switching over to the subreddit entrepreneurship because everything else I saw on there were either ads or asking for foundation tech founders to help. All right.
That specific one goes a lot into that for some reason.
It really does. All right, this one is from additional8587 who says, mentor? How would I go about getting a mentor to talk and ask questions? I don't own a business, but it's a dream of mine. I would love to talk to someone like-minded with some experience. I mean, quite frankly, I think we've said this before, go to any business in your area and ask to talk to the owner. 99 times out of 100, they would be thrilled to sit with you and tell you their story.
Yeah,
they would love to get the story.
The other thing for me that is totally underestimated or undervalued in this is I had already started a career in sales and was pretty good at it, right? And I knew this wasn't what I wanted to do. And I ended up taking a job as a commission sales rep under the condition that I could work more closely with the owner, right? So he became a mentor whether he wanted to or not, because in order for me to do my job effectively, he had to teach me certain things. Now, the pay was horrible. The experience and the knowledge that I got was invaluable. Right. So there's always more than one ways to skin a cat. Right. So you can go get a mentor. You can pay for mentors. You can go talk to people that have been there, done that.
Don't pay for mentors.
No. But like, I'm just saying you can, like,
I'll speak my mind on this in a minute. Go ahead.
Like when you're at a certain level, paying for access to someone's time, I think can absolutely be worth it, right? Like if you could buy, I don't know, 10 hours of Elon Musk's time or Alex Hermosi or Warren Buffett, like that time would be
time would be good if you knew for certain that this person was successful.
Correct. When you're starting out, you probably do not have to pay for a mentor to begin with. You need to work with someone that is willing to teach you what they know. But like I know a lot of business owners that have what they call business coaches, right?
Yeah.
And a business coach is really nothing more than a mentor that can advise you, right? Like, yes, it's a little bit more than that. It's a little bit different than a direct mentor. But like, there are so many ways to do this. The question is really like, what type of mentor are you looking for? Because I could go get a job right now with a construction guy and say, hey, I want to be able to one day start up my construction business. Can I come work for you?
Right.
And be your right-hand man? And by the way, I'll work for a minimum wage for the first 2 years. Actually, come to think of it. So a buddy of mine he sells himself out as a handyman, right? But he knew when he came here, so he migrated here. He had some basic skill sets from his home country, right? But they don't do plumbing the same way. They don't do construction the same way, right? Because they use different building materials, different techniques and stuff. So his first 3 years that he was here, he went and talked to a plumber and said, "Can I work with you for a year? You can pay me minimum wage for that year, and I will never say no to a job you give me." And he went and did that. Then he worked with a construction company to learn how to do studs, drywall, like that type of stuff. He told them the same thing. "I want to work with you for a year, right? I'll work minimum wage. I'll never say no to a job."
Yep.
Then he went and worked with a tile guy for a year. Same thing. He's like, "I just want to learn. You can pay me minimum wage. I'll show up for every job." He did that. 3 years later, he was fully equipped to go and start his own business.
Love it.
He now employs 38 people and runs a construction company.
It's fantastic.
It took him 3 years, right? At minimum wage. It's still cheaper than most schooling.
Oh, heck yeah.
Right? I just thought of it as we were talking about this.
A lot of people would be terrified to do that.
Yeah.
Terrified.
Yes.
They'd be like, now, what if nothing comes out of it? Then I've wasted 3 years of my life.
No, you gained experience.
Nah, people don't think like that. They don't think like that a lot of times. In fact, some people not only is it people that feel like they might waste their time, there's other people like, that's just not enough money for me. Yeah. Well, you're only thinking about right now. You're not thinking about 10 years from now. And the people that are thinking about today only, are the people who are never going to go anywhere. Yeah. You're never going anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, I can tell you, talking to him, like, there were a lot of days where, it was ramen noodles for lunch and dinner. Yeah. Right? Like,
and today, Morimoto is making his meals for him.
Correct. Like, he was in it for the long game, right? Yeah. And what he got outside of just when he got to work with these owners and business owners and stuff, he not only learned the skill of the trade itself, right? He also got to have conversations with him. Like, how do you price jobs? How do you make sure your margins are good?
Right.
Like, how do you know this was a 2-day job and not a 3-day job? So he learned the entire process by working in different industries and how different industries price things out.
I love that.
Right. Like, I was like, that's ingenious. So he now does a bunch of he does bathroom remodeling is one of his big things. And, plumbing, drywall, tile. It's a no-brainer to do that type of stuff.
I love that. Right? That's so. Yeah, I mean, how do you get? So let's go back to the question: how do you get a mentor? How do you find that? Right? Again, I think you can go to a lot of businesses in your area, and you can talk with people. Yeah. Even if it's like a once a month lunch conversation, and you buy the guy lunch, right?
Yeah.
Once a month lunch conversation, you'll probably learn more in that hour during lunch than you will in any classroom.
Yes.
But I want to go back to the paying for the mentor thing.
Yes.
Okay. My problem with paying for the mentor is, look, if it's Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, you pay all day, right? They're not taking your money, by the way. They're not. If they have time, Gary V, they have time, they'll talk to you. If they have time.
Yes.
The people that do it for a living, my biggest concern with those, yes, there are absolutely people out there that are worth it. Mm-hmm. They've earned it. They have big successes to show you, but there's a lot of other people out there, which is the vast majority, unfortunately, in my opinion, of people that haven't, but they're faking it. The fake it till you make it guys. Mm-hmm. They're out there claiming they can help you get to the next level when they don't have a clue.
Yep.
And they come with these, I'm not going to say false, but with these weak experiences that they just fluff up and make look good. And I don't trust it. I don't trust. I've dealt with these people. I've talked to them. I've had people ask me to set businesses up for them so they can do this. Like, they can be like, these business coaches and stuff. So tell me about your experience. Oh, well, I worked at this company for 30 years. Well, what does that have to do with, running your own? Oh, well, I never ran my own business. So you're going to teach people how to run their own business when you've never run your own business. Mm-hmm. I don't get it.
Well, but so in that defense, right? So do you know who Tony Robbins is?
Of course.
Okay. Do you think Tony Robbins may be able to help you with a problem that he never had?
Yes.
Okay. So there are those coaches as well, right? Because at the end of the day, Tony Robbins is ultimately the guy that started the whole life coaching industry.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't think paid mentorship is always a bad thing, as long as you are an educated consumer and you know what expertise you are buying from that person, right? So let's say, for example, that you're starting a trucking company.
Mm-hmm.
You have your first 3 trucks.
Yep.
And you run into a guy that's a business mentor. He's never run a trucking company, but he happened to have worked for a logistics company during a time where they went from 10 to 50 trucks. Right? Would that be money well spent to be able to have him kind of walk you through the experience of what that growth was like?
Yeah, okay, sure. I get that.
So like
I said, I don't discount it all.
No. I just don't like blanketing all mentors and all coaches, even though they're paid.
I guess what I'm trying to get at is make sure you know who this person is before you engage them.
Know what you're buying.
Yeah,
right. Like that's what it always comes down to.
That's exactly what it is. Know what you're buying.
Yeah.
The difference between buying a product and buying people is you can ask the person and kind of get an idea.
So I'll give you an example.
They know what they're talking about.
I'll give you an example. And this is kind of a weird example, but it fits almost perfectly what we're talking about, right? So I have a client that hired a business coach, right? And I'm telling the client what they need to do on the marketing side. And they're like, well, we're not sure. The business coach doesn't think that that's as important. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I mean, I've only been doing this for a few years, so the business coach could know better than I do. And of course, as they're walking out the door, I happen to ask them, hey, oh, by the way, who's your business coach? Only to find out their business coach is actually a client of mine for a different business. Right? And
that's great.
And I was like, wait, he is your business coach? And they go, yeah. And I'm like, you realize he's been a client of mine for 3 years. And this is a guy that can't even decide what he wants to do with his own marketing budget. And he's advising you on how to market your business.
See, that's the joke I'm talking about.
I'm like, I love the guy. I'm like, but you need to fire him.
Yeah.
Like he hasn't done what you're looking to accomplish, nor does he understand what the risks involved are.
But he's willing to take your money.
Correct.
See,
Correct.
That's the thing that bothers me.
And I get it, right? But at the same time, other stuff that he was telling them was spot on, right? But there was probably 30% of the advice that he was giving from personal experience and what he believed about his own business, rather than giving it from a more neutral perspective of, well, here's what it actually takes, right? So I would say 70% of his knowledge was worth paying for. The other 30% was simply bad advice, right? So whose fault was it? Who should be asking, what am I buying here? Right? Like, because does the person that's selling it even know that it's bad advice because it's their lived experience?
I don't think they do it on purpose. I think I would say in most cases, certainly people I've come across, they legitimately think that they have enough experience to help you.
What's the saying? Trust but verify?
Yeah, trust but verify. Exactly. So yeah, I would say it's absolutely on the new business owner or the person who's looking for a mentor to make sure that this is the person you want, that they can actually help you get to the next step. And it comes with interviewing. It comes with looking at references and things like that to understand.
Like I only found out recently that Alex Hermosi keeps talking about this guy that he had respect for and like kind of became his mentor. And I only recently found out who the guy is that he keeps referencing without saying his name.
Okay.
And it's Brunson, the guy that did ClickFunnels.
Yeah.
That's the guy. When he's referencing, I found a guy that I had respect for that was doing better than I am, and kind of took me under his wing and helped me understand it. That's who it is. That's who he's talking about.
That's funny.
But once again, you would not be able to buy time. You would not be able to call up Brunson and say, "Hey, can we start having lunch once a week?"
You never know.
You never know, right? But
honestly, probably not. But
probably
you never
not.
know.
Yeah. But it was just very interesting to me that like when I found out who it was, I was like, oh my God, like that's who it was.
All right. So add additional 85, 87. Hopefully that gives you some ideas on what to do to look for a mentor. Good luck to you. I do think a mentor is very important, especially when you're first starting out, because you never know what questions you're going to have, what problems you're going to run into. And if you have someone there who's been through it, they can get you moving along right away, as opposed to you taking a month of slowing down and not having any clue what to do about something in particular. All right, let's see. Oh, Gummi, this is you. All you, my friend. All right, here we go. This is from Accomplished Loan 85, who says, "How do I quickly make a landing page? Advice, please. I would like to create a simple landing page online, maybe 2 other pages max, to test out a minimum viable product. On the main landing page, I would like to have an e-newsletter sign up and maybe a quiz. What platform would you suggest? Any advice? Welcome." Go.
Look, for stuff like this, you can use any of them. Like it is.
Be specific.
That
doesn't help this person.
So you could use the GoDaddy web builder. Yeah. You could use Wix. You could use Squarespace. You can use, hell, I even think Canva now has an option to do this.
I didn't know that.
You can do, oh my God, what is it? Foursquare? No, not Foursquare. Foursquare. What the hell's the name of them? There's a bunch of them out there that are like really simple web builders. And if website design isn't your thing, they have preloaded templates that look pretty good, that help make it really easy, because you are not building your first landing page to harvest email addresses as your long-term website for your business.
So let's narrow it down. If you had to pick 3, right? So let's start with person, no clue about technology, has never built anything like this before, can't design anything, right? Just needs to hit a few buttons and go.
Wix.
We're just doing one?
Wix.
We're only doing one. Okay.
Yeah, like if you just need a starting point, right? Like Wix is as good as any.
Easy to follow?
Easy to follow. Super nice templates. It's going to look generic. Like you could open up any website, and like it's funny because like as I'm looking for stuff sometimes, I'm like, oh, it's a Wix site. And then I check the source code. It's a Wix site.
So let's back up a little bit. The domain name, right?
Yep.
Your URL. Would you recommend that the person sign up for Wix and let Wix create the URL that they want, or go to GoDaddy or somebody yourself first?
So it all depends. So Wix and a lot of these other places have gotten better, but they used to hold your domain name hostage.
That's why I asked.
So they don't do that anymore. So like after Google transferred their domain registrar to, I want to say it was Wix that they transferred it to, Wix actually became a registration and DNS.
Okay.
So you can now do the same thing on there as you do on a GoDaddy.
Oh, okay.
Right? So I personally like GoDaddy because they don't charge you anything extra if you want to set up forwarding on a domain name. Yep. They don't charge you anything to manage your DNS. A lot of times they'll give you one free email address with your domain name, right? So it's nice little extras. If you're just setting up a landing page, the GoDaddy builder is pretty straightforward to use. So yeah, I would say either Wix or GoDaddy. If you're just building a landing page to collect email addresses to see if your product's viable, either of those will do just fine. But it's not a long-term solution.
All right, so you like Wix. Okay, good.
I don't really like any of them. I understand that it's a first step.
Yeah.
And the easier it is for you, the less time you have to spend on this, the sooner you can start getting people to sign up.
Yeah.
And very few companies make it easier than Wix does, or the GoDaddy web builder.
What people are suggesting here. I usually use ChatGPT and DeepSeek to spit out the HTML. Then I host it for free on GitHub. If you've never been involved, you have no clue how to do that. Number one, you probably don't know how to make sure that ChatGPT is giving you the right answer that you need. And number two, where you're uploading it to and how you're hosting it and how you're connecting the domain and everything. Like, you have no clue how to do that.
And also, you're not getting the database to collect your users, right?
Yep.
And for me, the big thing is if you're using a sign up form for people to sign up with name and email address, make sure that they're super easy to export.
Yep.
And make sure they log the IP address and the date and time that the user signed up. Because if you decide at a later point to go high level or Aweber or
they need that information in order to,
if you have that information, they don't question where the list came from, especially if you've grown your list significantly.
Right.
It makes it easier to move from one system to the other.
Let's see, another one. Besides Squarespace, which is
Hmm.
what you were trying to say earlier, you could consider platforms like MailChimp or Lead Pages. Um, this person says, I'd advise you to go for WordPress. You know, that's funny because that's the one I would probably not advise you to go after right away is WordPress. It is very in depth. It
So
does a lot.
so here's the thing. If you go that route, you can do like a managed WordPress environment,
Yeah.
but you're going to be spending money. Like you can buy a plugin like Elementor.
Yeah.
You can load that in, and same thing. You can use a preloaded template and get a website up running pretty quickly, but it's going to take you 2 or 3 times the amount of time than using a Squarespace or a Wix.
Yeah, I agree. It's and because the beauty of WordPress is once you're up and running, WordPress will do a lot of stuff for you if you know how to set it up.
Oh yeah.
It'll do a lot of things.
I mean,
Almost anything you can think of.
We now have gotten to a point where like we put everybody into WordPress because there are so many tools that have been developed that are plug and play with WordPress. Like it makes no sense for us. Like we've played around with like Joomla. We've played around, like we used to have our own CMS, right? Like we built one that we used exclusively. What we were finding out is that all the tools that you need down the road, your email marketing, your SEO tools, your even dumb things, right? Like adding a Google Pixel to your site or a meta tracking, or like with some of these pre-built tools, it's super easy just to add all of that.
Yeah.
And the less time you have to spend on the technical side, the more time you have to spend on the actual marketing side or the business side of things. And that's what it boils down to for me. Is I have clients that come to me and like, hey, I want to build my first site. And we throw a price at them and they're like, oh my God, why is it so expensive? And I'm like, it's actually not, right? Like, it's just you don't understand what the work is involved in writing all your copy and building out the site and getting the design right and, you know, paying for your plugins. And like, we pay for all that stuff, right? It's the same thing. It's part of what we were discussing when I was doing the price thing, right? Is people were like, well, why do you charge so much for social media marketing? And I'm like, well, first of all, I wouldn't have to charge this if clients actually sent us things like photos, right?
Right.
But we spend thousands of dollars every month buying stock photos because clients, they're all gung-ho. Yeah, we'll get you lots of photos. And then we get one photo dump when we start working with them. And then if we're lucky, we'll get another one in a year, right? But if we're posting for you twice a week, that's a...
Yeah,
that's 100.
You need a lot of imagery.
Right? So let's say we're posting for you twice a week on 4 different platforms, right? We may not be posting the same thing across every platform. We need different photos. You're not going to get us that photo library. 99% of clients don't.
Yeah.
Right? So the less time you have to spend on the technical side of things, make it, when you're starting, keep it super simple. Start with a Wix site. Like we just had a guy that came to us about 6 months ago. He built his first site. I think it was Wix. It was either Wix or Squarespace. And none of our SEO tools worked with it. But it only took us a day to take his current site and rebuild it in WordPress, right? Like we literally just made a copy of it.
Yep.
But his site was good enough the way it was sitting in Wix for what he needed at the time.
Yeah.
Now that he was ready to take it to the next level, he needed the next tool up, right? And this applies to anything. Like if you want to be a junk hauler, you could start with a pickup truck.
Yeah, you don't need the big box car in there.
So you could start with a pickup truck.
Yeah.
Then you have a pickup truck and a dump trailer. Then you may go into having dumpsters and a truck to haul the dumpsters, right? Mm-hmm. So it's all about like understanding you're going to level up, so to speak, the further you get along in your business. So start with the thing that makes the most sense and takes the least amount of time.
And I could say Wix is, I've used it in the past, more messing around with it, trying to understand what it is. It is very simple to use. Mm-hmm. If you're not familiar with how these systems work, how to operate these
there's
web
another one
building systems, which is great.
There's another one that we have that I use. We use it just to build out SEO content and
Okay.
link building. I forget what it's called because it's just literally it's saved in my thing. So I
Yeah.
just push the button, and it's literally there's a button that says
It's the orange one.
correct, and it like once I'm in, I select the website I want to work on. I click add new page, and I drop a text editor in, and I put the content in, and I push save, and it's done. Right? It
That's
takes
great.
seconds.
All right. So anyway, how was that? That was who said this? This was accomplished loan 85. Yeah, Wix. Wix is a great idea. If for whatever reason Wix doesn't float your boat, Squarespace is good. There's a bunch of them out there that where you can make these things really quickly. If you're literally just looking for signups and stuff and you don't like Wix, yeah, MailChimp and those guys have those too, where you can make just quick landing pages for your
It's
newsletter.
built into some of those as well, right? Like
So not going to be hard to find, not going to be hard to build.
Believe it or not, I actually have started liking, we built a ton of landing pages. We started using Go High Level, which is a CRM system.
Yeah.
We started using that to build landing pages because it has everything built in. It has the email marketing, it has the database, it has the CRM system, it has the ability to allow people to like prepay, pre-order.
Right.
Like everything is just built in. And for us, I want to say you can go to a Go High Level reseller and you could probably get access to the system for between like $60 and $80.
Very cool.
By the time you pay for Wix, you pay for MailChimp, you're going to be 50 or 60 bucks in anyway.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
So it's an easy system that allows you, and it'll allow you to grow, right? Because they now even have it where you can you can have a WordPress site within the CRM system. Like it's talk about a company that solved a problem. That's one of them. Yeah.
All right. We have time for one more.
Yep.
Already. It's already that time.
I know.
Wow. All right. I think it's between these two. Where do you want to go? Basically, high note or low note?
Bottom one.
Really? You like this one better?
I think
That's okay.
I think it's a thing that
It's more relevant to people.
that doesn't get well. I don't
doesn't
think
get talked about enough.
correct.
Yeah. All right. So this is from Evening Poem 1568, who says, "I feel broken as a startup founder. I started my serious entrepreneurship journey 7 years ago in 2018. I built 7 businesses. All of them failed except for the last one, which I saw as an okayish business, but it left me broken, frustrated, and burned out. I had a brutal co-founder breakup due to conflict. Then I started again with new co-founders, but due to my self-sabotage and burnout, it led nowhere, and I exited the business at 3K MRR. What's that? I'm not sure what that means. I feel bad that all my startup friends are doing good in life. Some go to YC. My co-founders has when I checked 25,000 MRR business. What's MRR?
I don't know. I'm trying to read. One got into YC.
So,
My co-founder has, when I last checked, 25K MRR business.
I'm not sure what that means. Monthly return revenue.
Oh,
that's what it is. Monthly return revenue or monthly revenue returns. Yeah. So it's basically a subscription business. While my other co-founder is also doing good with new startups here and there. I'm still struggling without any solid business in hand. I launched a new SaaS-based AI agent, but it's not getting the traction I'd hoped for. The past 7 years, my social and financial life took a toll. I never did a good job, so I didn't have any extra money to do some fun stuff. Just good handmade food. I also don't have a girlfriend. I thought I would get distracted. And honestly, I don't have spare time. My family relationship is good because I live with my parents, but my social life sucks. Startup journey has been brutally hard with me, and I just feel sorry for myself. I'm 26, by the way. Why me? Everyone is getting successful, but I'm getting failure after failure despite doing entrepreneurship full time, and it's been 7 years. I can't sleep at night. That's why I'm sharing this post. Wow, dude, that's so 26. Wow, that's crazy. So you started when you were 19. All right. So, I mean, there's so much to unpack that we don't even know about here, right? We don't know what the businesses were.
I'll tell him.
Oh, please.
Yeah, just quit.
Do you think it's over?
Just quit.
I think he's given up.
That's what it's sounding like, right? Like he is, I don't want to sound self-pity, but it's self-pity, right? And I'm gonna be the asshole with this one. The fact that your two co-founders have been able to get things up and running and you haven't,
it could have been you,
means that the missing element that you don't have came from the two of them. So you need to take a good, long, hard look at yourself and say, okay, what did they bring to the table that I don't have? And until you figure that out, you're probably going to be stuck in whatever hamster wheel you're in now.
Yeah.
But this is, and when I said quit, by the way, I wasn't being serious.
Well, no, you kind of are, because
you got to stop and look at why are they successful and you're not.
Yeah.
They brought something to the table that you didn't have,
or you weren't willing to do.
Yeah. So until you're willing to look at the two of them, and rather than looking at them with envy, look at them with what are they doing that I'm not? What is the difference between them becoming successful and me being stuck, running the hamster wheel, not making any money?
Yeah.
And that, unfortunately, this is not the first time something like this has happened, where I've seen, do you remember what the hell is the name of the show? I forget what the name of the show is, right? There's a guy in New Jersey that had an ice cream place, an ice cream factory.
All right.
And he had a partner, and he wanted to do certain things and the partner wanted to do other things. And they were talking to him because it was a guy that was looking to invest in his business. And he goes, well, so you had a partner that wanted to do things differently. You did things your way, and you're now like $1 million ice cream manufacturer in New Jersey. He's like, do you mind if I ask where your partner went? And he goes, yeah, he founded Häagen-Dazs. Right?
Right.
So at some point you got to go, I wonder if the partner brought something to the table that you didn't have, because you're still stuck being a local New Jersey ice cream manufacturer, and meanwhile your partner is Häagen-Dazs.
And there's nothing wrong with that situation.
No.
There's nothing wrong with you make a decision, they make a decision. Turns out they were right. Okay, great. You've learned. Maybe you've learned some. Maybe your decision was a good decision. It just wasn't the right decision. Right? There's all kinds of reasons why it just didn't work for you as well as it did for the other person.
Yeah.
So what?
Learn.
Don't envy them.
Go learn.
Right? Try to figure out what is it about what they did that was so much different than what you wanted to do, and why it worked for them.
It's like Sappos. Do you know Sappos?
Of course.
Okay.
The shoe company. Yeah.
Don't ever call them a shoe company, because they're not.
They're not a shoe company. I've heard this before. They're a shoe company.
They're not a shoe company.
They sell shoes.
Correct. They sell shoes, but they're not a shoe company, right? And that was the thing that blew my mind, because I literally just referenced them last week, right? Sappos was set up to be a service company. Service 1, 2, and 3. What they then decided to sell was shoes, right? But once you are a service company first, you can sell whatever you want, right? Because your entire business is built around providing service. You want to be the best at the service thing. So what you plug into that now becomes irrelevant, because you're always going to be the best service company. So this could be a mindset thing, right? Like I provide the best AI bot. Okay. Do you provide the best implementation of that AI bot?
Is it easy for people to use? Right.
Because that could be the difference between why they made it and you didn't, is they could have an inferior product that's easier to implement, while you have a better product that people don't know how to use. Yeah. Right.
It could be that you know how to make the product, but you don't know how to sell the product.
Correct.
Maybe they can sell the product.
You don't know
how
to.
They just hired somebody else to make it for them.
Correct.
Have you hired someone to sell for you? Right. Have you looked at the variables, the differences between you and them, to see what is it that they do that you don't do?
Because there's obviously something. If the three of you had something successful together, you split up, and 66% of you went on to do good things, right? Like, let's use the PayPal mafia, for example.
By all means.
Right? Like, who was in the original PayPal mafia?
Well, Elon,
Peter Thiel.
That's right, Peter Thiel. Why do I always forget about Peter Thiel?
Right? Has Peter Thiel done a thing or two since then?
Just not really, not that much. Sitting around the house doing nothing.
Part of the PayPal mafia was part of setting up LinkedIn, Yelp, One of them went on to be, I think, the CEO of Reddit.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, that's right. Yep.
They own investment funds. They
Yeah.
own hedge funds, I think. So like you have 12 or 14 people that are involved in some way in almost everything you look at on a daily basis, right? So obviously them as a core were like, they learned something while they were at PayPal, and they learned from one another
Yeah.
so that everybody was able to go out and then do their own thing on different levels, right? Like I'm not going to compare Peter Thiel to the guy that set up a professional social network,
Right.
right? And I'm not going to compare the CEO of...
Are you afraid to say his name?
Who?
The professional social network?
No, that's the guy that was involved in LinkedIn.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I forget what his name is.
I thought you were going somewhere else
No,
with that.
no.
You know, that guy.
No.
He who shall not be named.
No, I just forget what his name is. But the guy that was basically, I think he was the co-founder of LinkedIn, right? And I'm not going to compare the guy that decided to get involved, be the CEO of Reddit versus Elon Musk.
Reid Hoffman.
Right? Yeah, Reid Hoffman.
If only there were a way to find out.
I know. Right? But every single one of those people have now gone into a direction that they were really strong in, right? Like, can we agree that Reddit is a pretty dominant force now, right?
I mean, I use it every once in a while.
LinkedIn is a pretty, like but they all took different
own
roles.
their spaces.
Correct. But they all had different strengths, right?
Yeah.
So the guy that took over as CEO of Reddit may not have had the programming experience to go in and co-found LinkedIn. Look up, he wasn't a founder in Reddit.
Oh, he wasn't?
No.
Maybe it's the current CEO?
I think it was, if you look up PayPal Mafia, you'll get a list of them and what they did.
No, he definitely was. This guy wasn't even alive when
No.
PayPal came out.
No. You'll get the list of who they are. Right? So members, Peter Thiel.
Wow, there's a lot there.
Right? But if you look at YouTube, one of them co-founded YouTube, right? Like, so what's interesting is when you go through this list, they are a combination of tech guys, management guys, operations.
This guy here?
Yep.
Ishan Wang became the CEO of Reddit.
Yep.
He was the engineering manager at PayPal.
Yes, right? So, like, they all had different skill sets, but those skill set became valuable to someone else. They all learned something. I don't want to say like they stayed in their lane, but they definitely, everybody had a different expertise, which is what made PayPal hugely successful. And when they split up, they all pursued something that was right up their alley, right? Like, I don't think Peter Thiel ever would have gotten involved in Tesla.
Right.
Right? Like, not his thing.
Not interested in it.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the same thing with this guy is just because you were good as a trio doesn't mean that you were good as a solo artist.
Yeah.
You have to rediscover yourself and what makes you good as a solo artist. Like, what is your genre, so to speak, right? Because how many brands have broken up where we loved them as a band and then their solo career, you're like,
terrible.
Yeah.
Well, Freddie Mercury, for example. Freddie Mercury had a horrible solo career.
Correct.
One of the greatest bands of all time. Terrible solo career.
Ended up going back,
Yeah.
right, to the band.
Yeah.
But like, so like, as much as I'm saying quit, I would say take a break and look at what is the missing element, because obviously it's something.
And you must be truthful to yourself. You must not lie to yourself that it can't be me. It can't be me. It's you.
It's you.
You're doing something wrong. And the sooner you acknowledge and accept that fact, and believe me, there's nothing wrong with it.
This is not the breakup speech of it's not you, it's me. No.
It's you.
It's
you, my friend.
It's you, my friend.
So figure out what it is and adjust, learn, grow, and then go out and try it again.
Yes.
Or quit.
Yes.
If you're not willing to do it, then
if you're not willing to learn the skill set you're missing, then it's time to quit. If you're not willing to be brutally honest, right? Like, we had this conversation the other week where I said I had to be brutally honest when my first business practically went under.
Yeah.
Like, where did it go wrong? And it was easy to point fingers and go, oh, it was this family member, or it was, at the end of the day, no, it was me. Like, that business was my responsibility.
Yep.
I should have known better. I should have been looking at this, right? And I learned that moving forward is ultimately the buck stops here, right? So this is no different. Like, I had to find out what my missing skill set was. And I never told you how that ended, by the way.
I don't think so.
I ended up going back to school after that happened.
Okay.
I went back for business, and I went and learned about macroeconomics and microeconomics and bookkeeping 101 and took all business classes. Like, I have enough credits to have 2 degrees, but I have no degree. Because I went to school because I wanted to learn specific things, not because I was pursuing a degree.
Right.
Right. So it was weird when I went back and I learned the basics of bookkeeping and I learned the basics of all this stuff. I was like, if I would have known this, I would have caught this the first month.
Yeah.
Right. But I didn't know what to look for. I didn't know how basic bookkeeping worked.
So,
right?
so we're gonna use that to end this for evening poem 1568. You might think you got nothing out of this. You might think that, it sucks for you, poor me, woe is me. You have 7 years now of experience that people sometimes never get in their entire lives.
Yep.
Okay. As soon as you figure out what this issue is with you as an individual, because it is you, I can promise you that. Once you figure that out and admit to yourself what it is, those 7 years are going to be worth more than anything you can imagine. And you will be on the fast track to taking your next venture and making it successful.
The reality is he's already been through the worst of it.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Like, from this point on, it should be downhill as long as you can figure out what that missing element is.
Just do yourself a favor. Don't keep doing the same thing over and over again. That is the definition of insanity.
Yep.
When you do the same thing over and over and expect a different result. Whatever you're doing, change it.
Yep.
180-degree shift. Whatever it was. I know.
But in this case, right? This could be a 10-degree shift.
It could be.
It could be
a small,
it could be
a
something,
small pivot.
Correct. And it could be something so minor that it's actually hard to see, which is what can make it difficult for him.
Yeah.
But if nobody's there to tell him it's you, right? If everybody
We're telling
goes,
you,
it's you, right? If everybody goes, oh, you're just unlucky. Oh, yes, they're so bad. No. It's you.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, then with that, remember about the founder syndrome and imposter syndrome. Remember we talked about at the beginning. So I highly recommend if you think either of those are you, go read up on it online.
Oh, yeah.
Because it really can change your life if you're going to be involved in a business. So with that, my friend, pleasure to see you. We'll talk next week.